Welcome, women of Jericho. This is more than a YouTube channel. This is a signal that not everyone will be tapped into. And I'm going to be honest, I don't want everybody to tap into it. I may have to read off some notes because of what I'm going through right now, or even if I wasn't going through, anything, I probably would still have to read some notes because that's just how I am. So bear with me. This channel, this signal is for women who are of the old earth, of the old ways, have ancient DNA, the priestesses, the light workers, the star seeds, women who are destined and trying their best to bring in this new earth of peace, of love, of equal prosperity. The women who are trying to light up little corners of their world. And even though I say women, because that's my experience, this channel, this signal is also for healed and healing men, because we both have masculine and feminine energies within us, and we're going to have to heal both if we're going to bring this new world into being. Here on this channel, you will feel challenged. You will be triggered by my voice, by some of the things that I say. If I am ever to show my face, you will be triggered by the way that I look. I'm telling you from experience and what I have dealt with, interacting with people in the world for the last 39 years. You will be triggered by the way I look, by my skin tone, by my eyes, by the way my lips are shaped. You will be triggered. I am an activator as well as a deactivator, a trigger, whatever it is, that too. um, um, if you ever find yourself triggered by me, pay attention to it. Consider why that is. Ask yourself why that is and answer it honestly, because in whatever it is that I'm triggering in you, that's the part that needs to be healed. I've been the person who was triggered by someone, and I've triggered so many people, and the only thing that I can say about that is that you have to learn why. Why are you so triggered by this person? What have they done to you? And that's a part of you that needs to be healed. I'm going to be taking a few sips of my coffee because I don't know, I guess I need to feel something warm. While I was thinking about what the episode 1 needs to be about, something just said start where you are. And if I can start where I am somewhere in between burnout. Burnout, ego death. And I thought I'd been through an ego death already, but apparently I was wrong. And also a midlife crisis, which is a little weird because I'm a little young to be going through a midlife crisis, but I've always been a little bit advanced spiritually, if I can say that much about myself. But it's kind of a combination of all three of those things and some of the symptoms that I am facing. My head is taking a dive. It's not swimming. It is not spinning. It is diving. Um, Episodes of just dizziness that come out of nowhere, and I have to sit down, and within the next few seconds, I'm asleep. A heaviness on my chest, like an elephant is sitting on it. This is worse than COVID, and I've had COVID once before. Trouble breathing, increased heart rate, tears that come and just do not stop. If you are feeling these symptoms or you have anything extra to add, put them in the comments. Maybe I've had them and I've forgotten. Maybe somebody else is having them. Just so that we don't feel so alone in this world, because after all, like I said, this is a signal, and I'm doing this for a lot of different reasons, but for one reason, because I need to know that I'm not the only one out here. I need to know that I'm not the only starseed that fell and is at a point where she does not know what the fuck to do, So let me know if you're here. Let me know if you're tuned in, if you get this. And you can wait until the end to say present if you like. Listen to it all the way through and make sure that this is for you, or if it's not. And if it's not, please, you don't have to let me know that it's not for you. I don't care. I don't care. I often take pauses when I talk anyway, but I'm really going to do this until I get comfortable speaking. So whenever I'm quiet, just use that time to reflect on what I've said or take a few deep breaths of your own. And I'm also looking over my notes because I can't remember where I was. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Women. We build our lives around certain titles, certain things that we've heard about ourselves, and we just latch onto it and we just go, and that becomes part of our identity. We hear somewhere in church, at school, oh, you're a good girl, and we get a gold star or a pat on the back, and it feels good to us, so we adapt that. I am a good girl. That is my identity. And so you grow up being that. And as you get older, you try and you strive for perfection. You want to be the best lover. You want to be the perfect daughter. You want to be the perfect sister, the perfect friend, the perfect employee. What is it? A boss bitch, as they say. Um, you want to be the perfect wife. It's just we latch on to these things and we become that, and we take on the qualities, and we drive ourselves utterly insane trying to make sure that we are keeping true to who it is that we think that we are. My fellas, if you're still listening, I can only assume that you are burnt out from trying to be the perfect father, because I'm pretty sure that some of you are like, the mothers, and there is no instruction manual for raising children, and the ones that are out there are not for your specific child. They may have a quality that has not been written about just yet. So some of you fellas are struggling with being a parent. You're struggling with working. Like, it's hard to go and what is it, put fries in the grease every day, or be a CEO. I'm laughing, but I'm not, I'm not down talking you in any way. Sometimes it's hard to just show up, even if your job is at a fast food place. It's hard to show up at a place that is draining your energy. It's hard to keep being somebody that you know deep down in your soul that you are not. The cost of living is too high because what it costs is actually our lives, and we're dying on the inside. I'm talking to people who look at their elderly parents and say, oh my God, I can't do it anymore. And the guilt that comes with that, the shame that comes with that, the knowledge that you can't hold everybody up anymore, it's not talked about enough. I don't know what to say for myself, so I'm just going to speak, and hopefully what I say resonates with you, and hopefully we can get through this together. But what happens when you look in the mirror and you realize, I don't want to be the perfect sister anymore? I don't want to be there. I don't want to be the head of the family anymore. But you still have all of these people who are counting on you because you have solidified your position. You are who the fuck you are, and you do it so elegantly and so flawlessly that everybody looks to you. And now you can't do it anymore because you're burnt out, because it doesn't resonate with you anymore, because it's not who you truly are. You realize that for a long time you have been lying to yourself. You have been telling yourself, I am this, when you're not that. It's just that the world forced you to be that. You were forced to go and get a job at a place that you hate. You were forced to take lead of the family because nobody else could, and you love those folks to death. You were forced into so many identities that you lost track of who you really, 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 really were. And so you thought that perfect daughter, perfect husband or wife, perfect parent, that's who I am. And then it's not just you not resonating with it anymore. You look around and you realize, wait a minute. I call myself this, but I'm not. I failed at it. You look at your children who are, Lord forbid, but it does happen. Children who are strung out on drugs, who are walking the streets, who are in gangs, who are just completely off the path that you tried to set them on. Or, and you're like, I failed. What did I do? I completely failed at being a parent. I completely failed at being a good daughter, or, whatever have you. I have always resonated with the fact that I was a writer. I published a book some years ago, and I took on that name proudly. I am a published author. Until this ego death, this burnout, this midlife crisis, whatever it is, until it came upon me and I started reading back over some of the books that I haven't published yet. And I looked at it and I said, what is this? What did I write? I read over the book that I actually published, and it's actually not as good as I thought it was. Now, true enough, sometimes we're a bit hard on ourselves, and sometimes we come up with things, and we have this inner critic voice. But if you're still here, something in you has realized that I am not what I thought I was. I am not who I thought I was. So what am I? Who am I? What type of life am I going to live after this? Am I going to make it through this? Because some of us feel like we're not going to make it. We feel like we can't press through. And this is how a lot of light workers and star seeds and people who are meant to raise the vibration of the earth, this is how a lot of us exit, because we get so saddened by the fact that we don't feel like we have fulfilled our purpose, that it gets overwhelming, and either and something happens. I won't say what. There are a lot of things that happen. Something happens and we take our ticket out. And I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want it to happen to me. We've got to get through this. If you're still here, if you're still listening, we've got to get through this. I thought about it yesterday, and I've been thinking for some weeks anyway. But yesterday I said, I'm going to metaphorically speaking, I am going to burn the versions of my old self alive, because I was filled with so much anger. When I sat back and I thought about how many times I poured out my energy when I didn't have to, how many times I gave people parts of me that they didn't even deserve, how many times I let people walk all over me for the greater good, how many times I, embarrassed myself because I felt like I needed to stand up when all I needed to do was sit down and wait. How many times have I leaked out? How many times have I nailed myself to a cross when nobody asked me to self-sacrifice? Nobody asked me to do any of that. So yesterday I was filled with so much anger that I said, okay, metaphorically, I'm going to burn the old versions of myself alive. These bitches deserve to die. And so I went, out in our backyard, and I started a fire in the fire pit. And, I, got some herbs together. I got some papers together that I had been keeping, things off my vision board. I was going to burn it all. And I was frantic, for lack of a better phrase, just ready, just setting the fire, and it wouldn't catch. It'll start for a little while, then it'll go out. And finally, I started taking my time trying to see, why isn't the fire catching? Why isn't this burning? There's no reason for this not to burn. And then it hit me, you are being way too hard on yourself. And I wonder if any of you can open yourself up to that enough to realize that maybe you are. Maybe you are being just a tad bit too hard on yourself. Do you know how many people go through this life in a delusional state of mind, thinking that they're somebody that they're not? You have poured out your energy, no doubt, to people who thought they were something and they were not. And here you are, with your spiritual self, with your fully aware self, realizing, hey, I'm not who I thought I was. And you won't go back. You refuse to go back to who you were. Because the old you, the old life, those labels, whatever it was that you placed on yourself or that other people placed on you, it has killed you. Your ego is dead. And I understand that dead and all these other words. There's so many trigger words out there because we're afraid to face the truth of the matter. We are afraid to face words. So if we are afraid to face words, imagine how many people are not facing the truth of the matter, that they aren't who they say they are. That the people in their life aren't who they say they are. If we can hide from words, we're hiding from shadows. And I'm talking about shadow work if I didn't clarify that. Anyway, back to being gentle and kind with yourself. Um, Once I started taking my time with the fire, I realized that okay, now it's burning. I'm being too hard on myself, and I want you to open yourself up to that, just enough for some gentleness and some kindness to come in and flow in, and understand that nobody on this earth knows what they are doing. Nobody. You see all these gurus, and I would love to be a monk. Up in the mountains somewhere away from everybody. But you hear, people like that, who say, "Oh, balance. Oh, you've got to do this. You've got to do this. You're too attached." The majority of the time, advice like that comes from people who don't have children, people who, I'm sorry, have lost their family, people who, don't have a 9 to 5, aren't forced to work a 9 to 5 to pay for the cost of living, the cost of water, the cost of food. You can't go and pick anything off the tree or, build you a well outside. You got to pay to live here, pay to exist. That advice is coming from people who have the luxury of having no attachments. That does not come from the everyday person like you or me who is of the world, who sought a connection and had, children, who came from a loving mother and father who, are still living, and you want to help take care of them now that they're in their golden years. It doesn't come from people like you or me. And that's not to say that their advice is not well received, that, they can't give it, but that comes from people who are not like you and me, people who do not have attachments. The thing about it is that balance is not a natural state of being. It's actually chaos. Chaos is actually the natural state. It is a natural state of things. Should you try to find balance within the chaos, quiet within the storm? Yes, that's the trick. But to assume that you are out of alignment and that your life is over and done with because you don't have balance, balance is the illusion. And we've got to break ourselves from the illusion. There was something else I wanted to go over. Bear with me. I always had to go through notes. I'm a note taker. I guess that was it. Yeah, I guess that was it. I don't know where this is going to end. I don't know where you or I will end up. I don't know who we are going to be in the future. But for the time being, I want you to show yourself some kindness. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to scream, scream. If you need to rest, rest. And if anybody asks you what's wrong, then you tell them the fucking truth. You tell them I'm going through a spiritual awakening. You let them know that it's not as pretty as it is shown on social media. You let them know that ego deaths and spiritual awakenings are ugly. They're ugly and they're metaphorically bloody, and that is what you are going through. And you give yourself grace, and you tend the fire inside with calm, not with rage. Even if there is rage on the inside, you don't give in to the rage. Do not be like me and almost burn yourself alive. You're too valuable for that. The mission is too great. I guess that's going to be it for now. I'll see you on the other side of the wall.